I don't need anything to sign that. Yeah, and that's part of it. How are you doing? Perfect. I don't think we'll go longer than 12 minutes. So, shared line. I did some lessons.
Okay, thank you very much. This is that. What's really well, thanks.
Lots of it.
That is good.
Yeah.
When does the class actually begin? 9 o'clock
9
sharp
o'clock.
or?
But people trickle in. So I think we should give everybody a couple minutes.
Can we
People-
give them,
people-
can we give them until 9:15 or 9:20?
People will start. Hey, good morning.
Let's go till 9:15, 9:15. You crazy mad woman.
Good morning.
Oh, my God,
How are you?
Hello.
Yes, I greet all my favorite people as you crazy mad woman.
Although you too, and Friday works. It works for you. Yes, yes, sure. Let's do it.
We're so glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotta say, I have my front arm like that. Go.
Why are you sitting over there?
She wants to look through. the-
Oh, she will. All right. Well, I'll just sing and dance dance. Give everybody a couple minutes. People seem to trickle in.
So this is about spreading the relationships and.
Yeah. For all the notes, so.
Yeah, I apologize. I have a listing call at 10. I gotta duck out and I'll be right back.
Hey, listen. Oh,
That's more important than anything I got to say. If you get enough listing calls, you don't need anything in this whole course.
Duck out around 10.
Go for it.
I was you in my first Ignite club, doing that all the
Good
time.
stuff.
Finally, she did, she just said, why are you even in this?
Hey,
She said, you're getting a call, just go, but I still did.
It's good to be in.
It- No, yes, it's good to be in class, but always take the call, but always, because you have to be available on the odd time.
Read.
That's part of this, awesome, that's part of the servant leader or the leader service.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm Cheryl.
Caroline, I'm Scott.
Scott, that's easy.
And we have Scott on Zoom too.
Yes, we do. Hey, everybody
Scott on it.
on Zoom. I don't really know how to work this thing. I think it's like,
Oh, that's fancy.
see who's on, is it just you, Scott?
So far, yeah, I would have others.
Yeah.
I think Andy can do it on the thing.
Every time I've done.
You can hit the slides on that thing, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can also, I think you could. No? Oh,
yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, you can. Feel like the weatherman. Well, should we just get started? Should we wait for Nick? Should we wait for Nick or not? No, we gotta wait for Alyssa. We wait for you know, just say we go. We don't-
What typically happens is people just kind of roll in. Yeah.
So they want to come into the action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want to come into like a lull.
I want to kick us off with something that the conversation in just does.
Yeah, I'm like.
Okay, it's 5 after. Let's do this thing. How's the real estate business going?
Good.
Tell me something good.
I've,
Well, you got a listing call. That's
yeah,
good.
that's on some land.
Yeah,
But I've been in the business now for about 2.5
yeah,
years. I was telling the guys. And my previous life, I was trying to call these people when I first started and I didn't get the time of day. With them. Now that I've been in it a little bit, I'm kind of with our daily tasks.
Yeah.
That's what I've set forth and it's been really grateful.
I want to hear more about that, as we talk, because that's what this is gonna be mainly all about today is lead. Strengthening relationships, right? Right.
That's what you did when you first called.
Yeah, yeah.
That time, no one, everyone was.
They were kind of wait and see, I think,
Yes.
What else do we have? Something good, anything good yet? How's the real estate business?
It's not real estate related, tell us something good. The idea is to start your mindset on a happy note, on a joyful note.
It's not -20.
Exactly. Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, great thought might be here.
There's something kind of fine, yeah, I was gonna say, sounds really nice, yeah.
Okay, I want to kick us off with something that is out of my mind. It's on topic, but we're gonna take a roundabout way to the relationship thing. There are two ways to get customers in the real estate business. Can anybody tell me? Two ways.
Leave it.
Well, you can,
I feel like there's.
you can lead generate. Or you can buy leads.
And lead gen encompasses referrals.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
that's really, I'm gonna lump everything. Reels, social media, everything that you do organically. Is in this. And so I was just meeting with another team. I like to meet team owners. I like to meet brokerage owners because I learned so much from them. And I was just meeting yesterday with one of my favorite team owners who, no names will be named. But I was kind of shocked to find out that, he does. So, at KW, we're all about this, like this is everything, lead gen. So he does probably 90% this and 10% this. And he's got a whole list of lead sources that he buys leads from. And that's how the business is.
And he's literally committed a massive budget just for that.
And I would like to, along with KW, I'd like to sell you all on the idea to not do this. The reason I don't like that is because, well, does anyone want to take a guess why I like that? Andy Harwood doesn't like that.
I would think that would go on in perpetuity, like if you have your sphere, you get more referrals. And organic leads come in that trust you, rather than having to establish this on the line.
I agree completely.
It's better to learn how to fish versus being dished out all this, because when you know to fish, think about it. You not only clean. I of course always, if those of you who know me and follow me or for my foolish little videos, I cook a lot. So I always use food analogies. You learn to fish, what do? You catch your fish, you learn how to clean it, fillet it, whatever you want to do. And then the best part is you either decide to fry it, cook it, or make curry out of it. Do you see what I'm getting? But my point is with your, when you learn to lead generate, your clients get to know you better that way versus the buy part, which is not only crazy expensive. You need to have a ton of money to get those leads that are quick to convert, and that's where he literally spends a lot of money, and he's developed relationships with these companies. So a lot of realtors assume that by spending money, they're going to get leads from wherever. No, they're usually very often leads that turn up nowhere because these companies recognize who the big players are. And
So-
that's a little scam. It's not exactly a scam.
So for those leads, which are often pretty high quality, you're paying 35% of the top. That's why I hate it, because I like making money and I'm running a business. And I don't want to pay 35% off the top for my leads. I don't even think you could.
Okay.
I'll tell you how the team is. I'm an open book. The past couple of years, we've made about $1 million in GCI on the bus Harwood team. It costs, and by the way, the team isn't perfect, but it's been almost perfect on the KW model. It costs about $300,000 per cost of sale.
Mhm.
That's the cost of servicing the lead. That's the cost of getting some of the leads on the team closed that we don't close ourselves. It costs another $300,000 or $25,000 a month in operation costs.
By operation, we mean, no, why don't you tell me?
Me,
No,
again, awesome admins, tech
Yeah.
suites, software
Yeah.
subscriptions, like physical things, closing gifts, that kind of thing.
those of you who don't know, Nora is our director of operations. Anyone tries to steal it from me, I know the Mumbai mafia is on my side.
They have to fight all of us on the
Do
team.
not, they're going to be tough. Do not even try. Andrina is good with nunchucks. Break your neck with her finger. She threatens me every day.
So let's do this, and I love these numbers because it's such simple math. Our average price point, and it's a little higher than this, but we'll just go with 300,000. It's such easy math. That's close enough. Meaning our average GCI is $10,000, right? Approximately, just doing 3% of that. So, if the cost of sale is $300,000, it costs us, and we did, by the way, we did about 100 units to make $1 million in gross. That costs us $3,000 a transaction to close the deal. So if I take an additional 35%. What am I left with?
That makes up here, okay, so it's
Yeah.
$300,000 cost of sale and then 300,000 on top of that?
Yeah.
Correct, okay,
Yeah,
so.
which is dead on the model. So Keller Williams recommends that you have about 30% cost of sale, 30% operation costs. And keep about 40%, which by the way, you can pay taxes on that, whatever. So,
12%.
right, state of Minnesota, all that stuff.
So,
So, when you're on a team, the team bears the cost of operations and you don't have a cost of sale. So the split is, that you're paying is kind of like, we're kind of paying a split ourselves in a way because we have employees, you have overhead, we have a lot of expenses. So anyway, I have no desire to
to buy
leads for 35% off the top, because I'm barely gonna make enough money to make this worth it. We have to be in the lead generation business. Yeah.
In your cost of sales,
Yeah.
let's say the two at each other,
We'd like to shut down.
is that paying the agents that you're recruiting, that paying their students and so on and so forth, or is that the cost to get this?
That's,
But also like listing, like expenses for listings could be a cost of sale too, right? So like your design books, your photography, your videography.
yeah, it's the hard cost,
Pager.
it's the hard, it's all the hard files and QuickBooks that are required to service the lead and get it closed, like on a list.
as rainmaker on the team, there's a reason why you always see Chevron pacing up and down on the phone talking because I'm the rainmaker. I, before we had a team, it was my job solely to get all the clients in. It still is, because 85, well, when we had a slightly larger team, how much would you say? I still closed about, over 80 clients, right, last year? No,
It's like 65.
65 last year, but when we closed 108, that was close to like 90 clients. That was still, because I was still bringing in that much. Which is why Andrew is the team leader, he handles the team, I just strictly focus on that, because as CEO, my job is to look at this numbers and make sure that we get enough clients to be profitable. Make sense? And today's class is about how do we strengthen the relationships. And I'm very excited to tell you what we do. It's really fun.
And so many realtors out there, you're gonna find as you go through your professional life, they're on teams or they're at brokerages where they're getting leads handed to them. And they don't really know how to lead generate. And so if you don't know how to lead generate in real estate, if you don't really have the core skills that it requires to run profitable real estate business, all you can really do is work for somebody. Or I don't know, and if there's a shift, you might
Which
be in a.
which
yes,
is what's
we're all-
happening right
We're
now.
all just going through, right? You might have come from a time. The phone was screen for, and it was easier to get leads and get listing appointments and stuff like that. We're experiencing it acutely. I don't know anybody whose sales haven't fallen off, because of the change in interest rates and all that. So the point being, all this stuff is, if it hasn't been said enough times here, I'm so glad we're at KW, we're getting indoctrinated into this in a good way, because this is so much of what we need to understand. So this class is all about strengthening relationships. And so the previous one that you were at, we were talked a lot about lead follow-up. So
Okay.
there's some similar things, but I think if you could tell us some of the things that you do, that would be super helpful, because they got it from my point of view, but you're really the master of it.
Right now, a lot of our clients, so Erin Harwood is my coach, because I have two coaches. She's my coach here. And one of the questions she said, she asked, that we are in 2023, where are you getting your clients? And I noticed that in the past, a lot of the clients were coming left, right, and center from, when they knew about us, they just called me up, told me, and just shut my meet, look. Interestingly enough, this year, we've seen more of the clients coming in who are being referred by past clients. And what I do is, when that happens, I always call up the past client and I ask them why. Because I always want to know what about the experience that they like so much that they felt the need to entrust of another client to us. And I like to put in little detailed notes about that, because I want to see if there's a pattern to our behavior. I'm very Indian like that. People, I suck at technology, I suck at numbers. No, literally, you have dyslexia. With reading, I have that version of it, but with numbers, seriously, except for it went undiagnosed, it wasn't studied in India. I finally acknowledge that I had that issue in the United States, because the United States does a better job of learning disabilities. But what did I do? I have better people who are smarter than me, but with numbers, who are more capable to handle that. All I need to figure out is how many houses do I need to close to be profitable, right? So with clients, so what I like to do with clients is I call them up. I ask them what did they like about the experience, and I make detailed notes, because I know that they have probably spoken about that their experience, with their clients, and I try to with their friends and family. I try to my very best to duplicate it with that client, with the new client. And then, instead of putting a whole new flavor to it. Why? Because the new person has it in their mindset, their version of what Sherline and the was how the team did to their friend. Who is a possible. Does that make sense? If I tend to talk fast because I'm from Bombay, so, yeah, I know. So Bombay is just something else. They go a little too quickly, tell me to slow down. One of the very first things I do, so after I do that with the past client, I then ask the client if they can put us on a text thread or an email thread. One of the patterns I'm seeing of late is that everyone wants to use text. No one wants to get on to take that extra step to get into an email unless they are of a certain age, and that's okay. Recognize your clients upfront.
We've heard that not just in our market and our experience, but like our top coaches have told us that too, they're having the most success with texting.
Correct. So,
Texting leads.
and so, but when I say it depends upon generational, it's a generational thing. Make a note of that. That is how crazy I am. If a client has text introduced me, I will put either, the team knows or follow-up boss. I will copy paste and I'll say text receipt, boom, boom, boom. If it's an email, email receipt, boom, boom, boom. Right away, I know, and then if it's a client who prefers picking up the phone and telling me, and this is usually with clients who. Oh gosh, I just started drawing me. Yes. Doesn't get me married 21 years and he doesn't even look at me.
Just gonna go over here.
And the clients who are 70 and above, I have noticed people picking up the phone and hey, Caroline, how are you? So I know they will talk about their friends and then they won't, I expect that call from them to go on for an hour plus because senior citizens very often are lonely, their families are calling them, they are isolated from their friends and they love to chat. So I always just, I sent a quick note to Marjorie just saying, here's my calendar, I'm on the phone with this. And I end up talking for 2 hours. What am I doing? We're discussing food, we're discussing family, we're discussing grandchildren, etc. And strengthening my relationship. Yes, I'm also very cognizant that my client who's a senior citizen then and wants to talk. And the hand is up.
Yes.
What happened?
So when you're doing all of these textings and so on and so forth, do you put them on? Do you use the service to do some of your text to initiate, or are you using this just on your phone all the time, just texting from your phone?
So, do you want to talk?
Well,
It's
I was
both.
gonna say, yeah, both,
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, so we have an awesome ISA who's a VA, and so her and Sherilyn have like a little huddle every morning, right? And they talk about, who's on our hot list for clients and who do we need to make sure we touch base with today. Sherilyn will be like, I'll take these 5, and then Marjorie will follow up with the rest of them. So all that is happening through Follow-Up Boss ideally, which is our database, our CRM, but for anyone using Command, if you use the texting service, Twilio on there, you could do it in there as well. But it's good to do it in your database, so then you have a record of it all. And then you can go back and it tracks your communication with them and like how long ago you last had a communication with them. If you're trying to do that all on your phone, it's not gonna do that very well, right? And you gotta search and find, and you're like, oh, dang, it's been like 3 months since I last talked to this person, bad on me, right? So Sherilyn,
She's giving me the side eye because I don't.
cause she's always.
Sherilyn's working on texting more through Follow-Up Boss in her own phone, so that one's a work in progress, but.
There's a reason why there's a hashtag I'm scared of Laura was created, but.
But when you've got a lot of past clients and they've got your phone number and they're used to getting
That's
text
what
from
I'm
you,
saying,
you're handy. Yeah.
So when we started the follow-up was about 2 years ago. we are in a selling business, so of course, initial, so all our past clients, especially senior citizens, they all have my cell number, and I, unlike most Indians who love technology, I'm a complete nut. So that's why we have the most fabulous technology on our team. And Nora is wincing as I say this, but I prefer doing this. Because if that's what the client has and is more comfortable, what I do tell them though is, after I get talking with them or texting them or emailing them, I always let all the clients know, hey, Marjorie will be calling you, and that is my executive assistant. She lives in Manila. And Marjorie then does, and I always tell them, whoa, because all my clients want to be on Facebook and everyone knows Marjorie, so they are very excited. They're very excited to start the phone call, and Marjorie, what Marjorie does what I do. Marjorie loves cooking too, so it's brilliant. She talks to them about anything and everything when it comes to cooking, the Philippines, blah, blah, blah. I'm an open book. I always tell her, hey, guess what? When Marjorie calls, ask her about her family. They're in the Philippines, etc. Your hand is up again. Yeah. So, Marjorie and I, these are soft executive skills. Not everything is about business. You want the client likes you, the client loves you, the client trusts you. But and you want, the problem I see a lot of times happening when coaches talk about it, it's like, don't let your conversation be more than 5 minutes. Don't let your this be more than, close the deal, get contracts signed in 30 minutes so go for a listing appointment, get contracts signed in 30 minutes, etc. When you're dealing with a family whose father is dying, if I'm listing the dying father's, client's father's house who's dying, that talk took about 3 to 4 hours. It was a very emotional thing to do because the father's still alive. They're trying to deal with the doctors. They have to pay medical bills. They have to find in every care home. There are so many balls in the air. I'm going to go there and talk about signing contracts.
Can I interrupt with an anecdote that was perfect on that? There's a very prominent coach, I won't name, who's big in the world of KW and maybe Eric's.
Yes, be quiet.
So, he remember being at a big thing where he said, big training thing, where he said, what the seller wants is for you to be aggressive. He wants you to come in there, kick the door down,
Yeah, actually.
come into the lockbox, get the contract signed. That's the seller wants. I've never found a seller. Because I don't know where they find these people. But we've had 2-hour listing things. So when we first got into this.
We have a 5-hour listing appointment.
I'm not saying you gotta be more efficient with your time because you get busy. My calendar's packed right now. I probably don't listen for a 2-hour listing, but I think it was bad advice that, not all advice you'll get is good advice. But you gotta use your own judgment, okay? You gotta use your own judgment. Maybe that works. Maybe the 45-minute listing appointment works for some people. That's what they were trying to sell us on, was 45 minutes, get in, get the contract signed and get out. We've had people who, they're selling their house because they got cancer. It was their property for 40 years. They grew up there. And it's been in the family for 2 generations.
It's a really
Who's gonna go in and take the door down? I can't see this stuff. I mean, these are clients who need our sympathy but it's sympathy, empathy, that's the word I'm looking for. Everybody who's buying or selling a house is going through a stressful time in their life. And I think if you need to clear a little bit more time to talk to them, it's not only the right thing to do, it's good business because it's really cementing the relationship and it's building a client for life.
On the vast Harwood team, because I am so vocal, right, to very big moment, exception of our team, I am seen as the face of the company. I didn't ask for that, but it is what it is.
Well, it is,
So when
it
people
is you and me.
Yes.
Nobody wants to see.
He, at the time, Andrew is very private. He is very introverted. I was getting him to teach this class at the public. But whether for better or for worse, I am the face of the company. People these days, because of social media, are doing a background look-see about you. And I realized that I was always surprised that at the type of clients who invited us in, and I realized, oh my God, this client could be my aunt, my cousin, etc. Clients are trying to identify themselves with me. And post-COVID, when everyone was so isolated, the need to feel connected is even higher. Loneliness, people are very lonely. Suicide out of the blue is very, very, very high in all age groups. And people are just, people really, if they are going to do business with you, they want to feel that they know that it's not just about getting money, it's about trusting. We charge 6.5 on this. I had a lot of people tell us no one's going to pay that kind of thing. Which is utter nonsense. I realized that I would just explain everything and they would be like, no, we won't do more. And I realized what? One of the things you will see another thing I like to do is when I giving out.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things I also like to do is I like to look around the reviews to see what they have said. We are fun, we are this, blah, 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 blah. And then everyone on our team, we try our very best to build people's soft executive skills. In this day and age, it's very critical for realtors to develop their soft executive skills. And by that, I mean, how do you respond on a text? How do you respond in an email? How do you respond on a phone call? For the client, because the client is crying on the phone, etc. And unfortunately, there's a reason why realtors have a bad reputation. I don't even wear, if I wear a suit, the shirt that I wear underneath is super casual because I know they want to see that. There are times I dress up like this. Because I know that the client has investigated me on Facebook and they know that I dress up like that. And I always take detail when I first meet the client. Let's just say it's a brand new client. When I always call up with Nora. I used to call up Nora. Nora, they have a cat called Stripey. Okay, she collects plants. Their cardamom is their favorite spice. Blah blah blah. I will take detailed, crazy notes. That is my black book. Because once that deal gets done. And if I am on Facebook and I see that Toby has passed away, etc., we send over a condolence card
And by the way, all those notes go into the CRM.
into the CRM. Or I write a quick,
That's the real up-to-date version of Sherline's black book, but she still uses it.
Yeah,
yes.
I think I
Except
might have told,
I click pictures and I send it to Marjorie, and Marjorie's there.
Which book is the black book? Which one of the 6?
that was my joke.
Yeah.
But for real.
Which one by? Okay. This thing, I'll send every call.
Line has like a whole bunch of notes. Every time you start like a notebook and you fill out like 5 pages of it and insert another one. And but one of them, you got a lot of information and you lost it. So
In the middle of COVID, the governor had just announced a shutdown, and I think Andrew was miffed and he forgot to lock the car, and that the one car I left with my very nice purse in there. Yes, yes, and I.
yeah. Because you have all this technology, put your notes in your CRM on your. And the little things like, she likes chocolate. They have a cat named Cookie.
Yeah, like for instance, for birthdays, etc., it's all about strengthening relationships.
Yeah.
If I my clients loves this particular brand of chocolates, okay? I literally go and I send her, I just drop off the gift, like happy birthday, etc. We are on our team. Elsa is responsible for writing. She has even a far better handwriting than me. And she sends out all the birthday notes, the condolences notes, etc. Before she became a realtor, Elsa was a client. And one day, and Elsa had all the pro skills. She is like the American version of me. Seriously, seriously, I'm not joking. She has all the skills of being very, very intimate with being, and it took me, she started out as a client, she hired us in our very first year in business. It took me 7 years to get her to be a realtor, but last year, for the first time, I convinced her to, I just called her up and said, I need that. Can you, my writing sucks. We need help, can you do this? You're very good with writing stuff, etc. And then she joined me. That was my way of calling her to do joining a team. Calling her to get a real estate license. But we literally have a budget set aside just for gifts and postage for our clients. What else am I missing? Oh, do you want to talk about the parties?
Do you Popeyes? I don't think we've ever mentioned that.
Okay, we also, so.
I wanted to mention about
Go, go,
about the gifts. One of the things that we do now, and I don't know why we didn't do it earlier, because it's such a.
Hello.
When we, oh, hello, hi, hello. Hi, Joanna. If we're out somewhere at a little shop, we'll just buy something. We may not even have a client in mind, and we keep stuff at home
It's
in
not
a
that.
closet. So that there's always stuff ready to go. So we did a big, craft fair last year. And I want to do it again. Yeah, the holiday bazaar. And we bought a lot of stuff from the holiday bazaar vendors, so that we could get it to clients, just little ones, doesn't have to be expensive. But if you can, know your clients and have little things like that in mind that you know they like, you can just always be on the lookout for it. And you can double up the cycle, triple up the cycle with your business too. Well, you can go out to little businesses in your neighborhood, especially little individual owned stores. Buy a little something for your clients, doesn't have to be expensive. Take a social media deck with the owner. Tag him on Facebook, and there's like so many legs to this whole thing,
Correct.
and then nurture all of those relationships at the same time.
I am a big fan of small businesses. I truly am. So when we came up with this idea of pulling off holiday bazaar, what created the need to start do this holiday bazaar? We had gone to a few of the bazaars, a few of the winter things. And I just asked someone, how much is it to just get a feeling about all of these things? And this person, this one vendor friend of mine said, but your client, that's like $1,000. I said, do you do $1,000 worth of sales? She said, well, that's the point to all this. She said, it completely depends on she said, I may not make money at this one, but I may make money at the other one. I said, but may is the operative word, right? May or may not. She said, yeah. And I was appalled when now these are not even small businesses. Let me correct this. These are tiny businesses. A small business, right? If you want to get into the tax version of it, is anything that makes about 5,000 and more. A tiny business is someone who's just a hobbyist. But a hobby will only be, so a lot of these people, I realized they're doing it just out of love. And they wanted to get out and learn. The more I ask, like I said, I love to deep dive and ask questions. When you ask questions, you can follow the conversation and you learn more. So I started asking all these tiny vendors, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. And over again, the one thing that came up was, we don't make enough money. We just do it for the love of it. And that's the sweet. We are in the middle there's a break, and this happened around the time when the feds were raising interest rates, etc. Some of these tiny business owners, this one woman, there was inflation, yes, there is inflation. And I asked whether these tiny business owners, I happened to call her up, she said, oh, I just called up she's a friend. And she said, well, I'm trying to figure out how to turn this into an actual money-making business. I said, well, what can I do to help? And tell me what. Finally, want to take a seat. She said, because I think I'm going to use it. Then, when the chairman gets pissed off, she gets overpaid. I mean, parents in school, and I said, Laura, I have this idiotic idea. They wouldn't think I'm a complete idiot. And Laura's first thing is, you're not an idiot, tell me what the idea is, and we work backwards.
Don't tell yourself.
Oh, what is it you said now?
Well, I said you're not allowed to talk badly about it.
No, that is a Laura is. So I told her, I have this mad idea of wanting to do a bit of a bazaar. Of doing like a bazaar, but we specify that we want tiny businesses. And it's going to be free. And I think I'm going to do it at my home. We'll have just about 10 or 5 or 10 people. And we were at the regional office at the time that was newly open. And they said, and we told, so Laura said, let me talk to Kari, who is the person who is the MC. Kari said, why are you doing that? Let's do it over here. This way you have more. And one thing led to another, and I went on social media and I said, who are we going to invite? I know like 4 or 5 people. So we went to one local fair by a school. There were about 15 vendors there, and I think from the company said, could you be actually interested in just doing this? I'll take a do this on my own. We had to plan on doing it at Rosewood. Nora said, well, you're very good at going on camera and talking, and I did. I said, no, I'm going to make these stupid videos. I hate talking. Because I in my mind, and I always talk about mindset, in my mind, I worry that people will not understand me through my Indian accent. Something that I'm working through. Alyssa stopped teaching me a lot about self-love. So, no, but that was the first time in a long time, that video is up on my Facebook page. I just went and I said, this is what we're doing. Blah, blah, blah. Who do you know is a tiny business owner? I am pissed off. And I put a huge note with that video. I said, I am really pissed off with what happened. With inflation, with all this, with inflation, with layoffs, etc. A lot of these tiny business owners, chances are will need this money to run their family. And I want to promote them. This is going to be free because I'm also mad at all these bazaars that are profiting at the expense of these families. Woke up to over 200 comments and more. But I still get people commenting, are you going to do that? What we did, we expect, and we have to, how many could be vendors to be finding?
He had 55. But
Yeah, 55
yeah, we had like
vendors.
52 that showed up. I think we had 3 that weren't able to make it last.
No, but they came, 3 people came out of the cold. Those tables did get filled because they came, because there was another vendor fair that they were thrown away. It was interesting. So what happened was, people, Adriana was manning the deck and was manning reception. So she was literally, and Alyssa, you were with me, right? Also, I had grounds. Yes, Alyssa is more or less my bodyguard. She's always been taking notes behind me, etc. But what happened was, what was interesting was number of people who poured in and said, thank you for doing this, thank you for doing this. We need I didn't think anyone would take it seriously. And then we did another video where I told all these vendors that we had a problem culling down the vendors.
We had too many.
We had ended up having, so a lot of people voted, we had to turn a lot away. But the 56 who were chosen, we sent out a video. I sent out a video saying, I highly recommend you looking up on social media, etc., and see how we do our marketing. Because my goal is to make you guys successful. That being said, I also want you guys to take this as a learning moment, because I want you to know what I'm doing, so that you can promote yourself, teach people to push for it. Just do a video. I just said, this is what I do. I lift my phone, I talk, boom, boom, boom. This is what I do. We were expecting about 100 people to come. How many showed up?
We had almost like 550 people that showed up through that door. I think we were open, what was it, 4 hours for that one? 12 to 5, 12 to 5. Yeah, so with
But people,
a
vendors,
little over 100 people an hour filing through that door.
vendors for the first time, sold out.
How much did it cost
Till
us?
date, I get a call,
Okay.
asking, are we doing that? We have gotten 3 listings from just a minute.
So I just asked Nora to remind me
And buyers.
how much it cost us. Yeah, I think it cost us, well, we bought the bags, we bought
Okay,
tote bags.
$400.
Yeah,
There's a
probably
cut in the break room,
less than.
which was something that
Yeah.
the vendors never got, was a break room for
Yeah.
themselves to be able to escape.
Yeah, I went, like, we got a bunch of food and stuff from Costco, drinks. and
We got food, every vendor got a handwritten note, right, Nora? Not the right, Melissa? Handwritten note, they got one of our magnets for chai.
Yeah. it was
Chai,
hard.
and there was a box of chai masala. Chai masala is spices for our Indian tea. Do not ever tell me, do not ever come and tell me, Sharon, we will not try tea. Chai is the way you know for tea. But Americans come and say, do you want chai tea? And yes, so we had here Houston's. Was Elsa and I, when that started, we went around. What I did not do, meanwhile, Carl, who is a marketing guy in Dubai, he was tracking everyone who was commenting. Marjorie, on the other hand, and our ISAs were tracking who were the past clients commenting, etc. Do you see what was happening? If past clients were saying anything, if current clients were saying anything, that's a relationship building.
I just wanted to.
Every activity you do is a relationship building opportunity.
Since you talked about, yeah,
Really quick question, so these events and these things that you're doing, are they on a schedule, or is it just? You have this like, oh, let's do this.
That was that.
Okay.
Idea, then you have studied it also. The first, no, give me a half second. The first idea is always the ask. After that, now everything is on the schedule.
yeah, that's actually perfect what I was gonna talk about. So thank you, because you were talking about, like, our employees and, all this kind of stuff. Of course, we never had that when we were getting started, but we did smaller scale events. We did a thing in our house where the potluck party, where we would just get people from the neighborhood to come. We didn't even make the food. I mean, we just made one thing and they showed up. And we got blessings.
Yep.
So my point is, you can scale these things, but the scaling is a double-edged sword because it's great when it's scaled, but also Nora's still trying to deprogram us or train us or something because we'll have these ideas and be like, well, we can do it next week. And she's like,
No.
but we're doing,
That was.
how about in 6 months?
So the Rock was trying to be, thank God she joined us, because, for the first 2 years, we really had the money. So people were like, where were you getting all your stuff, etc. The money, the dollar store became the best.
It didn't really cost us.
So the very first time we came up with this, the reason why I came up with the Bollywood potluck party was, post the presidential elections then. This is before Biden. We don't even need to name days because I don't like politics, seriously. And people were arguing on next door app. fighting with one another, et cetera, over everything. Everyone was angry with one another, et cetera. And I found, and again, I've said, this country is not about Republicans and Democrats, it's about human beings. Human beings are emotional people. As realtors, we bear the brunt of those emotions because selling a house, buying a house is a highly emotional thing. The faster you go on your executives, your soft executive skills, the more successful you're going to be. So, well, I noticed that on the Nextdoor app, everyone was fighting. So one day I just put up a post. The one that really pissed me off was the one where people just decided to go at one another over dog food. Okay, it's like, come on, but you know,
That's how it all started.
it all started because there was someone called, this people, blah, blah, blah. Just said, you know, I'm going to just take some food and process. And I said, this is ridiculous. Why are people just so angry? So I put up a post. I said, I'm going to put up for this ball. I just put up a post. I said, I noticed that it's you guys are all angry. It's the middle of January. We're all frustrated with the court. We're all frustrated with the elections, etc. Here's what I'm going to do. As you all know, I am the only person from India in the neighborhood. I'm going to put on a Bollywood movie. I'm going to have Bollywood music. I will have a disco ball. I'm going to open up my house to you guys. So all you're going to do is come to my home. And you guys, we're going to do an Indian potluck. The rule of the game, I just have one rule. You guys are going to put your favorite Indian dish and come. Who started? And then Andrew said, "Oh, no wonder." I woke up and we had again about over 100 people. The great idea to do that. 80 people said uncomfortable. About 50 people actually showed up. I did not kept pictures.
And could you do that?
At one event, all of Spanish Erickson, Longfellow, Nokomis, all those neighborhoods, the South Minneapolis, Shetland was a new. And this wasn't my first year of business. Most realtors in their first year close 2 or 3 deals or whatever. This immigrant from India with an Indian accent. I didn't think after the election, I didn't think anyone would want to hire me. Because I openly talk about my gun incident that I was supposed to go back and do India. I didn't think anyone would want to hire me. After that one party, most people start off with buyers. Honestly, this thing started going boom, 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 boom.
One thing is, when you're getting started and your business is smaller, you can do something like that next week if you want to.
That's enough.
Invite somebody.
Plans was like.
I think one of the challenges for us now is we really have to plan ahead and we really have to be organized to get multiple people involved in things, to do follow-ups and to do invites and tracking and all that kind of stuff. So now we track everything meticulously. Everyone who comes to any of our events actually gets tagged in the CRM for every single event that they came to. So we can pull a list.
While the party is going on, I am live texting the ISA team. The Friedmans have come. The Moores have come, blah, blah, blah. Marjorie is there. Oh.
But you could start these habits on a small scale so that as your businesses grow, you'll save time that we had to get more. I'm telling you right now, track everything.
After that party, people wrote to us and said, can we do another one? The following month we did that, the following one we did that, we kept doing that. And then, that's how it's.
And so one thing I always hear in real estate, I always hear neighborhood realtors, I'm a neighborhood realtor, whatever, and that's fine. It's going to be a neighborhood realtor, but I think we found that being like a community realtor, because you can define that more broadly. We found that there's some neighborhood involved where we lived, but it was a lot about building our own community and finding who in the neighborhood is going to be part of our community. Because some of our neighbors told me, "Hey, realtors, good luck. Hope you're in the bread lines soon." So they
We
were-
actually, seriously sick and we were supposed to be moving on. And that's because I got into, so we were in advertising marketing before we got into this business. So I wanted to ask people I wanted to see who would hire us. So it was all about how do we market ourselves? So market ourselves differently, cleverly, more kindly and with compassion. And I noticed that people are looking to see that from realtors, because realtors have a terrible reputation, and with everything that's going on that Sunset Boulevard or whatever those awful shows are, they are.
Prefer the selling.
Yeah.
So, you know, really didn't think people would hire us. And I just wanted, I truly couldn't understand that people were angry. What I didn't realize was that we were building our own community, and out of the word community, Sharman is a community builder, that has started coming out from clients' mouths. not me.
People are hungry for community, especially now. It's a huge opportunity.
Of parties. So she's got like what, the complete view of everything that has happened. You always say something.
Internet in 5. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we need to make sure the next party at your guys' place, that we've got like a shop for all the shoes. Because we couldn't get it anymore, because
Oh,
all
yeah.
That's not left.
We actually bought a larger house just for our parties because people love our parties.
Let's take a break in about 4 or 5 minutes, but does anyone have thoughts?
something that popped in my head when you said, you know, when people come up and they're like, oh, I hate realtors.
Yeah.
I have 2 responses for them, depending on my relationship with them. It's
Yeah.
either, oh gosh, me too. Or,
That's perfect.
or I say, you know what, that's fine. It's a good thing that I'm a person first and a realtor second.
I love that.
Yes,
I love that so much.
yes.
You
Because
know-
I'm an individual before I need.
You know, what we say too, what Cheryl and I've heard her say a million times is, oh, I do too, that's why I got into this. To get better.
Yeah.
That'd be like. something
That's
people-
exactly- we decided to do I told him my vision for the Walls Harwood team was to do something that was so different that if I am not buying into me, then I'm running a crappy business. Figure out what your brand is, because when you find out what you want to do, that is, your service is an extension of your personality, and it will help you strengthen your business, your relationships with your clients. But above all, take detailed notes when you're meeting them. It will come randomly out of the blue. My sister is seriously sick. How can I, I'm just worried about her, blah, blah, blah. And you may not hear anything from that client. After you meet the client, you may not hear for 2-3 months or whatever. There's no need for you to, that the person is dealing with something else. So very often, one of the things that people talk about is putting you on that drip campaign, putting every client on a drip campaign. Do that, because the drip campaign will help you, help the client keep you top of mind. But the personal notes from you is what captures their heart. Just, how is your sister doing? What do you want me to do? Put together.
Like you like each other for a minute.
No, genuinely, because for me, in my case, see, cancer runs in my family. And a lot of the women die, when I say the women in my aunties have passed away from it. And for me, when people, especially when clients tell me they have, there's someone who is ill with cancer, someone who's ill with Alzheimer's, because that runs in my family too. On the paternal side, my father's side of the family, cancer is on my mother's side. For me, those are the 2 things that really, really, I take it seriously, and I tell the entire team, no, this is what our clients are dealing with. Please, we need to go with super, super soft touches. Once in a while, and by that, they write to, what I mean is, before you reach out to that client, ask Sherline, should we be doing this or should you be doing this? Very often it's me. I will just say, hey, I'm thinking of you. how you been? How's the family doing? How's the sister? And not everything, strengthening a relationship is not about making money. It's about strengthening bonds. In the, I cannot emphasize this enough. Post-COVID, people are lonely. I think it has really shaken the American psyche so much that Americans, it's gonna take close to 20 years to recover from what the stuff has done.
How often do you recommend contacting those people? I've got somebody like that I'm dealing with, he's moving his, closing down his mom's home in Michigan and really struggling. But he's moving her back here.
That is completely up to you, depending, at least, just Risha says, is there anything I can do for you? Do you need me to buy you groceries? One of our clients was just so happy. We had a situation and I said, oh, you're coming over with your mom. Do you need me to buy groceries? Do you need me to do anything? The client was like, yes, can you do that? Because I was thinking of stopping at gas stations on the way from, he's from Michigan. Interesting. We were thinking of stop at gas. I said, I've got you. What do you need? Just tell
I
me.
think if you just be genuine and people want to hear from you too. They
Yeah.
want you to see
I've
it.
been touching base with them, but I, every now and then they go, oh, I can't take anymore, and you can see the struggle.
Then you can back off. You just have to. Yeah.
No, I mean, he's like commenting
Oh, about,
publicly,
yeah.
not from me.
Well, some people are overwhelmed with communication.
Yeah, they are, so I don't know when I'm.
Do you have a question?
But-
You look at me.
Andrea,
I think with those kids, when they're going through something like that, and when I do get them on the phone and, just genuine conversation with them, at the end, toward the end, I'll ask, what's the next steps? What are the next things that you have to do you personally? That's a big step, moving someone back home. and stuff like that. That's a lot of stress. Okay, what's the next step? That'll give you a timeline of, okay, well, their next step is that, next week they're gonna be doing appointments. Okay, mental note of that. I'll check in after those appointments are done. Hey, how did those appointments go? How you feeling?
No mental notes. I'm trying to train
Well,
everyone to
Yeah,
write down.
mental note while you're talking, so you can actually put it into your system, but.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I do it with those people. I check in weekly.
Yeah,
Just,
I wanna
hey,
be
thinking about
respectful.
you,
Yeah,
hope you're,
yeah.
hanging in there. Let me know if you need to talk. I'm here for you.
I think it would be respectful as long as you're not bringing up real estate, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm not.
And that's when our Popeyes are great. Like we had a client who was just sick. And we literally dropped off, I think, enough soup and sustenance for her for an entire week because so that she could have the food, and she's like, oh my gosh. We talked
Don't
about
do it for real estate, just do it to be a good person.
Right.
for Veterans Day, we make it a point to drop off Popeyes. We have a client who is 80 years old. All I did was, Alyssa handles the Popeyes, and she drives like a maniac. Very good at putting it down. The Popeye had a bag of popcorn from a local company, local small business, and there was a bag of chocolate from another small business. And what I did was I clicked pictures of all that and I put it up on social media. This is what, and I tagged the companies. I said, very grateful to these companies, to so and so for the pop, and we bought it. Tagged them and we said, this is what we're going to deliver to our veterans. We're going to say thank you to them, etc. Because we have to, because we dropped off our 80-year-old client who I believe was in the war or Vietnam. So he was he was so touched and he's got the beginnings of dementia. But he saw that and his wife was explaining, Vicky Wolf said, and he never picks up the phone, but he got on the phone with me. He said, that he said, it moves me that you're not from this country and you took the time to send me a gift. And I said, of course, I am very grateful for your service. She said, well, Sharman, you're from India, so that is a very sweet thing for you to say. I did not correct it that I'm a naturalized American. I knew exactly what he was going to say
Yeah.
next. He said because a lot of, he said because a lot of my own people, Americans, don't remember us anymore. I put that, I jotted those notes down for myself in my book, and then I put them back in, and now after that, it is, at that time, I just said, let's just do it, but now it's standard practice that for every Veterans Day, things are going on. The other sense of how to nurses, oh,
Can you take a brief?
during COVID and all that, we also send Popeyes to nurses, doctors and doctors, and then to teachers as well, because a lot of teachers are getting stressed out over online, and we continue with that practice. But the point is, that's how you strengthen relationships. You don't have to really do not much. People just want to be told, want to be acknowledged.
Should we take 5 minutes?
Yeah.
10 minutes? 5
Yep.
minutes?
And I'd also like to add, some of the gifts that they've done is, Girl Scout cookies. Yeah,
Yes.
so if you know.
She wants those cleaned out, those little boxes.
No, but I have
Oh.
two girls
Oh,
that are also selling cookies, and I have one cookie. Because I'm like a cookie.
I
So
was
have
the cool one back in the day. I
You
don't
know, so you know all the cookies that I have.
Yes.
I'm trying to get rid of them.
Oh, shares. Oh, for this.
Yeah.
You get a lot of information.
If you put stuff up like this, also
The cookies were also there.
Yeah.
there's not a lot of you for these slides. Here, I feel like we have enough stuff.
How much do you do relationships? That helps.
Okay.
Like if it's somebody you don't know.
Good point.
I think those are much larger than mine.
So
I think that one singular.
Oh,
He was one of the people at your house, right?
yeah.
You could dive.
The community wants,
Yes.
this is a past life was right also, but.
That's why I wasn't stressing.
And so these. Why is it out of and, community. That was the type of attention I was like. It's big one. So
I was looking at the pattern, I love it's really cool. I would never get that information.
There are people with potential joints.
Haven't.
It's something.
These are.
Oh, yeah, those are both. This both like them.
This has to be an evolution. Not even. It has to be about.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
For sure.
Right. But. Yes.
Better than that, you're right. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I thought maybe that was your.
Started, started. I don't know. And then like, oh yeah, she was asking me if like, I think there was some religion. Oh, yeah, she was here. However, and then these are like, even colors, like. That she's giving her at shoes from, she also has like a light mint green as well, it's like, I don't know. She got that green and then.
One year.
Like something like that, that would like.
Oh, no, that I already, yeah.
Yes, this bright one here. So did you
Just the-
want the?
Just the black.
You might have to do it.
Because that looks like a T-Rex.
Okay.
Can you click a picture?
Yeah,
Please.
yeah. Not a selfie.
Oh, no, whatever you want, just put a so I did, okay? All right. No, that's it.
Oh, with this, oh.
Caroline, I just love your energy.
No, I don't. I know, these are
Fantastic.
You want it? So okay,
Yeah,
it's like this.
I'm starting on Thursday.
It's the yours.
Smile cream.
Win the buyer.
Yeah, because I'm gonna, because then this is. And that's what I'm
Oh, I
gonna do.
just got
I'll
my,
show you, I'll give an excellent example
it's gonna be a little rough. Then my-
Nice.
Caroline's on my little store together. So we're getting that photographs for Rex.
Oh,
In that color.
oh, is that 3D printed?
It is.
Oh, fine. Oh, fun.
who's changing all this?
I'm just looking through these slides.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
there's not a ton of meat in these slides, by the way, guys, so that's why.
That's why we
They're all
figured, our way of strengthening relationships, I figured if Andrew and I, we both figured if we spoke also of what we do, because we go more with the soft executive touch of things. It's easier as a beginning realtor to do that. Because then you can build off those skills and figure out what your brand is as a CEO. Among, are you enjoying real estate classes? It's really fun.
Good.
Any questions, always ask.
They do it every day, like not just my.
Yeah.
Couple hours a day in the morning, just gets me ramped up to go. It was easy.
Yes,
So this, I wish they did this. one.
Yeah.
In some shape or form.
yeah,
You have a
that's
question?
why.
You can look and ask, it may, people may want to hear you. Guys, Tamal has a question, he never ever talks, so let's pay attention.
I didn't know we started.
What, that is exactly why. Sorry, Tamal.
So what do you suggest for new agents like also connect with the community, but I don't have money to post events that will say that.
Yeah, neither did I.
And also you also talk about potluck and all, but like I don't know what it is that.
Yeah.
On that, like what. do you-
Yeah, we didn't have the place, I,
Oh,
so people ended up sitting on the porch, sitting on the floor, sitting everywhere. I just had a mad idea and I didn't think too much about execution. And literally, that, now that,
Yeah.
yes, no, it's a good thing, Nora was not made your business. But the fact that it was so organic was what made it work. Because our people were like, people came and said, okay, no one knew I was a realtor. They walked in, I had my dining table, you know how big that, our South Minneapolis home
One
is?
bathroom. for
It's
all-
one bathroom, 1,200
It's
square
upstairs.
feet. I told people, you need to feel free to go in the backyard, and my backyard is small. But, what I did was, they cooked, right? That is the biggest expense. Everyone cooked. To get plates and forks and spoon, I just spent about $10 where at dollar store. I don't even go to Party City or anything. I went to the dollar store. And I told people, you know, they may rob me because, do you think people care? No,
honestly,
they just wanted people, they, It was interesting because people started discussing issues in the neighborhood, they discussed the poop, they discussed their love and hate for the new president, et cetera, whatever, but they became friends. Till date, I get the emails from our, so, pardon?
I said spring is coming or summer, you can do it out at a park, meet.
You can do it also in your back.
So when we,
Hey, you doing this?
No. Do not start with the real estate thing. When you're doing it over here, you're telling them you're a real estate.
it just depends on what.
You see what I'm saying? Come on. You're gonna get judged, like me, even more. Face it, you and I are not in this country. We both have accents. They're gonna get judged. I will point this out to you because you and I are he's from Nepal, which is next to India. Okay, so I can tell.
Another
So
thing-
I have one thing. So I told him, and was that, are you mad? People are really coming. I said, yes, people are coming. He said, I don't think anyone would come, and then people just go into our house. But I am telling you, do something organically.
Well, so another thing that we did was, somebody mentioned we would look that apart, so we do a whole week event every year. We color packets, color powder and everything.
We do it now at our house, the first one we did was at a farm.
Yeah, so it costs us, it costs of the color packets, and we had some food ordered too, but we wouldn't have had it ordered. It could have just been. So,
Well, lender went,
I
a
think
lender paid half the cost.
that's right, lenders will pay the cost.
We went with the lender and
With,
our lender and our title company paid half and half of the thing. Erin, I don't think people like Andrew and me. Look how empty the seats are.
I fill the house every time. Certainly need today.
Caroline.
Oh,
Kenan and we were on a team before, and maybe you could answer some of his questions about, he went door knocking, and people are scared of him, he said.
I have
Just
one
the
point.
door with guns at him.
No, I become, should I talk about the experience? Please?
you can,
Yeah,
Keep
he
it a
had
little
that
concise,
experience, so he
because
wants to
it's-
know, how do you?
Well, it is concise, and a gun was pointed at me. How much more concise can you get than that?
well, sometimes it turns into 1 hour. so.
No. I'm very blunt about the fact that I'm originally from India. I may have a naturalized citizenship. That's besides the fact. The dead giveaway is the minute I open my mouth, people realize I'm not originally from my country. It's the accent, correct? So I was my very first open house. Things happen for a reason. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to become a real blah blah blah. And he's like, yes, then you need to get out of your comfort zone, go do it. I'm like, coach. I said, the first week I got licensed by coach, Julia Lachey, who is now the director of EI for Keller Williams. At the time, she was the productivity coach at my first KW brokerage. He said, Sharma, I want you to do this. So I went and did an open house, and this one realtor was very kind enough to say, can you do this in Minnetonka? So I'm door knocking over there. And it's like, okay, hi, I'm Sharma Boss, I'm Keller Williams. I'm here to do an open house, I'm here to welcome you, to invite you to your neighbor's open house. At one of the houses, which is one of our neighbors, was probably a $700,000 to $800,000 home. He said, are you American? The gun, I didn't register the gun. He had it in his hand. I just said, what? He said, are you American? I said, yes, I am, because I was so automated. I was in the zone, right? Just giving them. And I said, yes, I am. Then you don't look American, you don't sound American, you have no business selling American, and start working Americans that are here. That's when I looked down and I saw the gun. He was very well dressed. I said, okay, my entire thing, everything that I've learned about self-protection, but I said, okay, thank you. Just so you know, on Minnesota state law, unfortunately, whatever they will be, depending on which party you're with, the homeowner has the right to shoot you if they think they're threatened on because that is their
Yes.
property. Okay? So I walked out. The first thing you do, you have this thing, turn your back, walk. Do not walk like this, etc. Walk, turn around, walk out. And I saw the vote for, okay, let's not mention the president's name, blah, blah. I said, okay, that is the first thing I should have. That should have been an indicator for me that I should not have stepped in, because you never know. You never know, right? So as I left, I think that people keep asking me why I did not talk to the police, etc. Because for the simple reason, the law is on the side of the thing. So while they talk about door knocking and all that, whatever, feel free to do whatever you want to do. But please keep your personal protection in mind. I would rather you figure out how to strengthen your relationships, even if you have 2 clients this year. Build your relationships with everyone, strengthen it better, so you never have to do that.
Yeah, he was wondering how what do you do with that?
So I tell people that was a blessing that happened to me, because it forced me to think of other avenues of lead generating. There are so many ways to do this business. That is the brilliance of real estate. If there's something, one lead generation way that you don't want to do, guess what, which one I don't do. I also don't pick up the phone and call, because people hear my Indian, I tried that. And people would hear my Indian accent and say, well, we're not buying a house in India. And they would be like, well, who's the, and I would tell them that I am a licensed realtor. They would tell me, no, you're just the ISA or whatever you are. You're working for Spencer, you're working for a realtor who's the realtor's name. And so I knew that didn't work for me. That's why I became hyper creative by just getting super involved in my neighborhood, etc.
But different things work for different people. I
Correct.
remember when we were in Ignite, there were a couple of guys in there who were brand new. And they have two very successful businesses now. But they came from Comcast. They were walking door to door selling Comcast. Now, if you could go door knock Comcast, you could go door knock for real estate. These are houses. They're like, this is a piece of cake. So they were good at it. They could door knock, until the cows come home. But it didn't work for us, and I didn't like doing it either. So I think you can force yourself to do something if whatever, somebody, bold or whatever, they twist your arm to do it. You can get yourself out of your comfort zone, and maybe you'll like it. That's fine. And maybe that's a good thing to get out of your comfort zone. But if it's really not your jam, there's something else you can do.
I was also gonna say, when Sherilyn has to go door knocking, I typically go with her.
Because
Sure, you could go in numbers too.
You could also just flyer.
You can
Right.
flyer
You don't have
draw.
to actually make a face-to-face
Mhm.
contact with somebody, you can just drop a flyer on the doorknob.
I have a
Yeah.
pocket full of go to Office Max, get that large bag for.
Number 10 rubber bands,
For $5.
number 10 rubber bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 10 rubber bands. It's called number 10 rubber bands. Don't get the small one, get the large one, because then you can roll up your flyer and then rubber band it on the door. That's what I do. for
And
my
I used to do a lot of flyering when we were listing in our old neighborhood and we were getting started. I would just go out and flyer like crazy. I did door knock and flyer. But I would just, if there were nasty dogs, scary looking houses, I just wouldn't do it.
Yep. I would look at people's political signs
hate-
just because things are very contentious.
Well, I
then-
don't care about that. I care about the signs that say I hate realtors and soliciting.
But the no soliciting thing, if they say no soliciting, don't even put a flyer over there. Because because when the homeowner has told you to not solicit, don't even do that. But all the more reason, however, I would meet, I remember in Hopkins of our second year, I was flyering and there were some people out in the yard working, and I just struck a nice conversation with them. They came to my open house, etc., etc. And then a few months later, one of those neighbors recommended their family member to us. But the only reason that happened was they were kind enough to stop their yard work, talk to me, talk about real estate, etc. Every conversation gives you an opportunity to strengthen your relationship. how you build it, it's completely up to you.
And Andrina, can I put you on the spot?
Yeah.
Because you've had some really good success. I don't know, door knocking or flyering or just going in your neighborhood, because you're very connected with the community. And you had some really good conversations with people, right?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
How did that all work? Was it a certain time of day? Was it certain strategy, or what do you think?
Well, most of the door knocking that I've done in my neighborhood has either been for open houses or for food drives. And so when I'm coming from a non-sales,
Exactly.
yeah, when I'm coming from a non-sales direction with it, I have a lot more genuine conversations with people, and real
Yeah.
estate just naturally comes up. They're like, oh, you're a realtor, you have an extra card. Oh, of course, definitely. I always take, when I do the food drives, I put my flyer on there, which has my contact information on the flyer, but then I also staple one of my business cards to it as well, so they can take the business card off with leaving the flyer on there, so when I come back to pick it up, the flyer is still on the bag, so I know which bags to pick up. And sometimes they've actually asked me for extra cards. I've had conversations with people who have been living in the neighborhood for over 30 years, some of them 50 years. New families, people that moved in, started renting, conversations like that, and
Yeah,
it's awesome to be able to make those connections, especially when with the other involvement that I have in the community, them being able to put a face to the name of somebody who's on certain committees and stuff like that is huge.
you just know your neighbors.
Yeah,
It's just about getting to know your neighbors. Yeah.
I will say I've
Yeah,
got some interesting stories with door knocking, because I've had some.
There's always interest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but so, yes,
Yeah,
so we do food drives on our team, because food
Yeah.
is very dear to me. I grew up poor, so food for us is a very, very, big, food shelves, stocking food shelves and all is very dear. So people on our team, they choose whichever food shelf they want to support, and you get the community involved.
Because you were talking about not having a place, there's lots of ways to do, you could do a food drive, a coat drive, a bomber, or, I mean. There's all kinds of things you can come up with that will cost you almost nothing and not require.
I mean, those bags for the food, for those grocery bags, I mean, I ordered about 100, and that was just $20. And then we made our flyers over here, which is called Share the Love, and we did it around there.
Nora reminded me that,
Talk about
we
Lisa Airport.
we have a really good, yeah, well, but we have a way to learn information about new clients that I'd like to share with you.
Okay,
For buyers and sellers, because when you go into your appointments, you can have a much higher conversion rate. And you can also, just have a much smoother time, talking to somebody if you know something about them first.
Right.
I would recommend that everybody have some kind of an intake form. Now, I've seen the old fashioned way to do this, is just get a PDF and something, or have a templated notes. A lot of realtors in the past, what they would do, or some probably still do, is have an initial call with the buyer or seller and just go through a few questions to get some information.
Mhm.
But we've automated that, and we have an intake form that just mouse word. Oh, here we go. So if you are, let's just say that you're a buyer. Then we ask everybody to fill out a buyer's questionnaire. The seller one's almost the same.
and the scroll,
A few different questions on it. Yeah, I'll scroll. So
or does it move up?
this is
your
just
fingers?
this is just made in Google. Yeah, this is just made in Google Forms for free. Didn't cost us anything except some time.
How do you feel?
Have you been in touch with somebody from our team? How would you like to be
Preferred
communicated
method
with?
of communication
Did somebody refer you? Then is there a referral we can take?
that I can.
Partners information, because the next thing that you're gonna need to do when you sign buyer rep and listing contract, is you're going to need, the partner spouse's information, and you're gonna have a whole back and forth of all that stuff.
You also learn very quickly that we start putting the partner spouse thing, because very quickly you have to be hypersensitive when you're talking to someone who's in the process of a divorce. There's a death in the family. someone who is single, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So we just put that in there because I'm less interested in getting the partner's phone number
Yeah,
and
that's
email.
exactly-
I'm more interested in knowing what's happening.
Is there another person involved in this? When are you looking to make a move? Do you have an ideal closing date? Why do you want to buy a house? Are you pre-approved already? Now, this is obviously a big detailed questionnaire, so we don't send this to those deep rent specs. This is not gonna go to somebody who's far up the funnel. It's gonna go to somebody who's engaging with us and is, we're gonna set an appointment with to go have a buyer or listing consult. What do you do for a living? Why do we ask this? Because there could be down payment assistance programs for nurses, doctors.
Or they could work
first
at
responders,
home and they say they only need a 2-bedroom, but really they're used to working at the kitchen table and they could benefit from a 3-bedroom.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Basic stuff like, what are your wants and needs and where do you want to live? Do you have any hobbies? For example, one of our buyers had a massive fish tank. Would that make it fun to know
Yes.
when you go
The
into?
one of the, so because I'm the one who's always talking to these clients first. I would ask these questions and Nora would be like, Shavline, maybe let's just put this in a questionnaire because she one day asked me, why do you ask these type of questions? Because I'm less interested in how many bathrooms and bedrooms they want to buy. I'm more interested in understanding what they plan on doing
Yeah.
with those rooms. That's when she said, oh my gosh, Sharon, we should put that in a form because I was doing it without thinking. Andrew and I worked in advertising and marketing for nearly 15 years and our minds were trained to deep dive into such conversations with marketing directors, CEOs, CMOs when dealing with their brands. I was doing this automatically, but for real estate without thinking too much. And it took Nora, who has a operations brain, saying, oh my gosh, we need to have an intake form like this because they're getting into the psychology of the bio of the potential client versus just wanting to find the details. Does that make sense?
Are you planning to interview other realtors? Would it help you to know if you're up against other realtors? Heck, yeah, it would.
I'll also say on this form, sometimes people give you a 1-word answer. Sometimes people will give you a straight up paragraph, their whole life story, and like, that's the best thing possible you can have to foster and nurture that relationship and strengthen that relationship,
Correct.
because you have so many points to follow up with them.
That is,
Flow into your CRM, right?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
it goes into.
exactly.
Yeah.
Did you really? We couldn't have that. What if
Which agent they select, who they've been in touch with, there's also another thing that will email it to the right person on the team.
that's one reason we like follow-up us because their reps help us set some of those type things. too.
Here's that here.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had trouble doing my own tap here, so that's nice.
It's a
Is
little
there
tricky.
anything special?
Amanda brings.
But I wanted to tell you about the paragraph versus the 1-word thing. That alone can be a great insight into their psychology. Are they somebody who's very analytical? Are they giving you a lot of information, or are they whatever? You'll get a tone from it, and you can go into that 20-minute with some understanding of who they are and what they're looking for.
Can I,
That'll increase your conversion rate double digits,
correct.
and you'll be a better person because you're being empathetic.
When this form comes in, Marjorie or Eileen or Ninia on our team contacts me right away. Via Facebook, text, any possible way.
Caroline gets it via email too, I will just say that.
Yes, I do get an email, but they contact me because when that form comes in. How many clients do you think love it that 2 minutes later, the CEO of the Harwood team is on the phone with them? I've yet to find one client talking about it. I'm not joking. They're like, you actually have the time, we thought someone else on it. Well, they expect Marjorie or someone to call them up. No, they're very surprised that I just call up, hi, my name is Shavline Mars. I just thought I would call you up and introduce myself. Thank you for taking the time to fill out the form. And I would love to meet you. Are you available for a Zoom meeting? And I mentioned the Zoom meeting because I want to see them to see me and I want me to see their expression when they're talking. However, I want to tell you to the about the strengthening that relationship. When this form comes in, the two questions that tell me a lot about a client's psychology is this and this. You'll be surprised how much information people will put in there about what they don't want, what they want,
Is there
about
anything
their past
special?
experience, etc.
Is there anything special we can do as your realtor that would really help you?
And they will tell us, hey, we have so and so,
We have a child with special needs.
we have a child with
Yeah.
special needs, we have a father who's dying, I'm a widow, etc.
I'm a nurse and I work nights, I get a really tricky schedule.
We had a very sensitive situation where this wonderful lady wrote to me and she said, you came highly recommended just because you're very compassionate. And she put in there, she said, my husband killed himself. We are relocating from New York to Minnesota. I would love your help because I'm trying to get my child into a particular school because my husband came from so and so country, etc., etc. Can you, would you have the time? Marjorie got on the phone right away. Sharma, you need to call this person right away. And she debriefed me on the form. I didn't. And while I was on the thing, I opened up the form. I was on the phone with the client and I said, if you have the time at all to get onto a Zoom with me right away. Marjorie was on Zoom watching me and she said, I will create that link in half a second. All this took seconds. So these are little touch points that you guys, if you guys can hone your service down to the finest detail, people, clients they will love that client and it ended up buying close to $1 million home. I never would have done. I had no idea she was even looking for it for a house of that.
But I
Till date, her mother calls me up to just have a chat with me and say, thank you so much for taking the time to do this kind of detailed work.
I just want to make it clear, this is not a lead generation work. Nobody is gonna, well, very few people, it's happened a few times, but very few people go to your website and will fill out a 20 question. This is just for,
When a client connects with us, I send it
Yeah.
or we send it over to them.
Sherilyn usually literally says, can I beg you to fill out our form?
Yes, I'll just say, can I please beg you, and people love
I
that.
don't know if she has
That's
to
my
type it,
script.
But that's your script.
That's my script.
It's disarming.
I did it last night, the client filled it out and when someone fills that out. Takes the time to fill out a 20-minute or a 20-question form at 11:30 at night, I know they won't work with me. Meanwhile, Marjorie has already connected with them with a Zoom. I have a wire consultation this evening, but she's already talking to my lender. The point of this form, the biggest point of this form, what do you think it is? Come on. It's because at the meeting, Zoom, I am not going to be wasting my time talking about 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. We are going to be talking about one. I want to get to know if she has a cat, or a kid, or doesn't have a cat, or her kid, or what do her kids do in school, etc. Marjorie's on the phone on the Zoom with me taking detailed notes, but otherwise, even when Marjorie talking, I'm the one taking detailed notes. Because my point is to make the whole experience of buying a home not transactional, but fun. It's an emotional decision. I cannot emphasize this enough. Lisa Lee has been in this business longer than me. Time and again, we have heard, Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong. Lisa is a very, very seasoned realtor, one of my dearest, but I respect her views so much, and she's someone I absolutely adore. Realtors make the biggest mistake of treating their clients as a transaction versus a human being. That form will help you so much. Are you on my phone?
And to Sherilyn's point, you guys have probably heard this before or something similar, but I was looking at the notes in here for today. And this leapt out at me, just the way that they're presenting it. 75% of buyers and sellers only spoke with one agent. And I think only about 15%, this is NAR statistics, interviewed two agents. So if you get the appointment, you got at least a 75% chance of getting the business. You can go, and especially for buyers, our conversion rate for buyers is quite a bit higher than listings, and probably will be for you too. Because if somebody's gonna spend 6% to list their house, they might be interviewing other realtors or whatever. But buyers, I would say for buyers, it's gotta be more like 80% or higher. For listings, it might be a little bit lower, but the bottom line is if you can get the appointment, you're more than halfway there. And then if you can do a good job of building your trust at the appointment, you'll almost certainly get your business.
I often ask my clients, why me? And they tell me that they called up other realtors who either didn't pick up the phone, or the minute they heard how much they were paid for the class, they would just say, oh, I only work with so and so price point. It never fails to shock me. And the other thing the third thing that I heard, that I continue to hear is, oh, I don't help people out in so and so neighborhoods. I only work with people who will buy in Edina, Arizona, blah, 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 blah. It never fails to shock me. We have traditionally do these things. They're not supposed to turn away a client, but there are people out there doing that. So, but come with kindness and compassion, because you ultimately have, as a licensed realtor for the state of Minnesota, you have the absolute honor of helping someone with their home ownership journey.
Does anybody want to know anything else about strengthening relations? Is there anything that we haven't touched on?
What would you like to know?
I want them to talk more about this.
You haven't said anything. I apologize, but I never looked at you. I look at Nora because she scares me.
Oh, so I'm sorry, I was writing something.
Do you have a question? Or do you have anything to add?
I do want to say that from your last class that you taught on Friday,
Yeah.
the categorizing the clients into the A, B, C, D, and how we treat them is really like, it was kind of like a breakthrough, because we do A and we do D.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, yeah, because like either they're a future buyer or they're like a never buyer person, which
Sure,
really like
sure.
anyone in the middle.
This
So
will help you.
great. Yeah, and so like this class is really kind of fit into that, and it's
Yeah.
been very like informative. So
And this form will help you hone in on the B's and C's faster.
yeah, and so I'm just wondering with the A, like the A's and the D's, kind of have covered, but for the people that are like a year out, like how are you like building that relationship with them? Those people that are like, they're not yet buying, they're the dreamers, the planners, like how are you cementing that relationship?
What I was, oh, sorry, can I answer that?
Yeah.
Because I was the rainmaker, because I am.
We'll talk about a
So-
client that just came in this week,
Correct. Oh,
with the
yes.
long-term nurture.
But let me
But yeah,
tell,
go do that.
and then
Go
you
to that.
can finish
That's
that
a
up.
really good example.
No, because that is a great example. So, what I do with the B's and the C's, I didn't even know that there was such a category. I just had my book, which drives Nora nuts. But I would make my notes saying, so and so person, Andrina, is not ready to sell until next year. But every 3 months, I would just say, send a quick note saying on text or email or with a card. If it was a listing and I had the address, just send a card saying, thinking of you, I just thought, if it was spring, etc., I would send a card or a packet of seeds in my card and just say, happy spring, just thought I would let you know, thinking of you, if you need any help at all, reach out to us.
And that's like once, like essentially like you just check, if it's once a month,
I wasn't even discussing real estate. Do you see what I'm doing?
yeah.
They know I'm a realtor, because with my card, which has the Keller Williams Realty, blah, 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 behind the.
Yeah.
Do we have a copy? Do we have an example of our cards? No. I highly
Stop by our
recommend,
office.
Yeah, I highly recommend, if you have, with your first closing, people are all about buying Chanel bags and bottles, whatnot. Don't be like him. He loves his Chanel man purses, won't be like him. Though, the first transaction you close is reinvested into your business. Buy little things like branded cards. Buy little things like, no, not those cards. Greeting cards.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Greeting cards. And make sure it's blank so that you can double it up as, oh, is it a condolence? Is it the happy birthday? So is it whatever. Of course. That way.
Oh, yeah, we have those, like we have, because we print them here.
Correct.
Sure, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yes. So what I do is, so what we did was, when we just started making, of course, it's become more, at that time, if you don't have money, come on, to answer your question, go to the dollar store. Dollar store has, for 10 cents, for $1, you can buy 10 cards. That's what I did. People love hearing from you, and no one takes the time to write a handwritten card anymore, or a handwritten note anymore. People really cherish it. In fact, a client of mine just sent me a picture of a card I'd written in my first year of business to her. And I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe you still have the card. And she said, well, actually, I have your card and I use it as a bookmark in my cookbooks, and I think of you all the time. Oh, by the way, my niece and nephew are now ready to buy, and I've asked them to come to your custom Mumbai class. I was like, holy cats. How much did that card those days cost me, come on? 10 cents plus the postage.
It's specific.
May I ask you a question?
There are nurture plans.
Yeah.
There are all these drip campaigns and all that. Use those drip
Yeah, I was
campaigns.
gonna get into that.
He will talk about that. Use those, and he will also talk about Lisa Ayeho, our client. Use those drip campaigns, but also do this.
Yeah.
Also do the pop buns. Someone is sick, take over a bowl of soup, just saying, hey, can I drop off this?
Yeah,
That's how you strengthen a relationship.
Amy has a question.
No, pardon?
I'm setting up,
Perfect.
You have a question?
Yes, I have a question for her. As a partner, when we are in the same shoe, we're
Yes.
dealing with the same object.
Someone,
And the question for you is, I know that India has a huge community in Detroit. Did you start with them first? Or no?
You know, that delicately.
oh, there is no delicate. I have no problems to talk to the same things. Should you want me to answer this now or later? I think.
The short answer is she didn't start in that Indian community.
What do you want me to do? Should I talk about it now?
Well,
Or would you rather?
But the reason I'm asking you is because I don't have any, yeah.
Okay,
You
then,
don't have.
all right, we've spoken about guns. Let me talk about you, about the other shocking thing that happens to me. I was born and raised Catholic in India. If anyone's following India's politics right now, I'm very glad about it. About all the nonsense that they do. Discrimination in India takes place on religious grounds. 80% of India are Hindus. The remaining are a mix of Muslims, Catholics, and other religions. The second largest religious group are Muslims. Third largest religious group are Christians. The Catholics being the biggest population amongst the Christians. So if you want to talk about things like privilege, money, opportunities, etc., of course, if you come from the dominant Hindu community, you have all that, plus you have the money to get a visa to buy a plane ticket to come to the United States. I am one of those rare people from a minority community in India who got a scholarship, everything, saved my money, got a job, and came to the States. How many Catholic Indians do you see in the United States compared to the Hindu Indians? It's like on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe just 2. In fact, I did find out that the number of Roman Catholics, Indian Catholics in Minnesota, there are exactly 7 of us. Most of, and then of course there are other religions, etc. But the dominant, but so when I first started out, I was very involved with the Indian community, like Alcohol, festivals, etc. When I got a real estate license, I was very shocked at the way I was. The very first thing that came from people's mouths was, we can't hire you Shablan, because if you step into our home, even before our priest blesses our house, you're going to make it permanent. Parvati is the worst word in the Indian language. You know what I'm talking about. Familiar, do you speak Hindi? Okay, you understand the word? Parvati basically means you are blemishing our whole. God will never step into our house. Christian steps into our house before our house. They will actually, he was there when they, Andrew said, they just said, well, Sharma, Sharma is used to this because discrimination is so casual, right? So, and they're used to it for hundreds of years, thousands of years, who done how old our culture is. It's like, oh, Sharma knows that thing or that, he will do business, etc. But when it comes to buying a home or doing anything, that's not really.
So we came from another profession, advertising. And I think there's an analogy here, because when we got into real estate, we thought, oh, this is gonna be great. All the advertising people will hire us and Indian people will hire us. We're active in both of those communities. And either of them came out. The advertising people said, oh, you're going into real estate, so you're gonna have your face on benches. No, it's really, really.
And then people. What do you know about? These are people I knew for years, 15 years in the advertising.
Yeah.
What do you know about collection?
But
You're not.
Yeah.
Prior to real.
So, but I know people. I
The
know,
people from that industry.
No, but knowing of advert.
but here's, right. But here's where I'm going with that. I know people I know realtors who have done very well in the community setting. And I know realtors who have come from advertising that have done well in advertising finance. It didn't work out for us. I don't know exactly why.
People now from the
But-
Indian community, it's now 7 years. We have had till date, how many clients? No, around 432 clients, correct? 7 Indians have hired.
But I think.
7 Indians have hired me.
I think it's back to community, you have to kind of like find your community, and some people are not gonna be on team. Indian cheerleader or whatever, they're not team you, and. You can either choose to kind of complain about it, or you can just realize that that's just not the way this is gonna go.
When I heard the word Parvati, something inside me died, because I thought, oh my gosh, these guys have come to the United States, you would think these are guys, highly educated doctors, blah, 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 for them to behave in that same way in India, they have brought that shit from India over here. So when Americans talk to me, oh, I love Indian food, Indian this, I get very angry. Because I wish they learned a little bit more, but they assume that I have gotten to where I have in life because the Indian community has this. So I try to tell all those of you who are immigrants like me, figure out who your community is. Either it may be from your nationality, it may be not. That being said, Hindu Indians, after they saw me getting successful, Hindu Indians got licensed and they are and the Hindu community is having.
But think about.
Yeah, I learned that quite a few Indians better not think more Malaysia.
But on the other hand, think of all the people who we seemingly had no connection to or anything special about why we met. And they become our biggest referrers and our biggest.
You're not, and I want them to be our biggest fans. So right now we have fans. So when we did the Bollywood potluck party, that the Bollywood potluck party and that incident when one of the Indians told me that it happened that same weekend. When shit happens, do not ask yourself how you can pivot quickly and be super creative and recreating your green life team. That being said, how important is your dream to you? I can't tell you how important that is. I can't tell Andrea and Alyssa who are on our team how important they are. Only they can calculate the level of importance to themselves. And then, you know, while I was very upset by what they said, by complete coincidence, you know, when I happened to see these spiking posts and I said, how can I? These people need chat. I never ever thought we would start off with the listing side of the business quickly. The advertising and marketing bit of it happened coincidentally. Now, if you have come from another career, to strengthen relationship, if you have come from another career, figure out what were the skills that you used from your past career that you could implement and pivot or rejiggle to fit into your real estate career. Because that, and always at the back of your mind, keep, in fact, in the front of your mind, front and center of your mind, ask yourself how you can use that skill set to make your relationship with your clients so tight that they will become your biggest raving clients. Your goal is not to get, yes, you've got the deal now. Your goal is to make sure that they are reporting you to their friends, their family, their aunts, everyone for the rest of their lives. And all the rest of your real estate career.
Yeah, some of the big team rainmakers have been so prospecting based that they have no game when it comes to nurturing those relationships. And then they have to kind of like retrofit their businesses into it. And there's lots of ways to do this professionally, I think. I think we're in a world now where people are expecting more of a connection to you, and a certain percentage of those people that are your past clients, they'll become your raving fans. So we kind of call them the VIP list, and they get special treatment. They get invited to dinners at our house.
You saw my post from yesterday.
Because they're referring us.
Did you all, any one of you all see my post? I'm so sorry, because you guys are having a separate conversation and I keep it distracted. Did any one of you all see
The cat one?
the one about the food?
Oh, no, I didn't.
People have been there, over the weekend, we had 11 clients over. And these guys report clients, so people who are reported to say thank you to them. I cooked a 9-course meal for them, a meal, an Indian meal with 9 separate dishes. Just to say thank you to them. And I deliberately chose to not cook the last 3 dishes. Because when they came in, I got, and Andrew was like, you need to be ready. I'm like, I know exactly what I'm doing. All the clients got involved, shopping, blah, 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 blah. It ended up, they all became fast friends. The next day, I got texts from everyone saying, oh, I'm Facebook friends with everyone who was at the party. Do you see what happened? They're now Facebook clients becoming Facebook friends. Then we throw out the ball. So we throw 2 client conversation parties. We throw the Diwali party and the Holi party. We've had clients who have become fast friends. We've had clients who've written to us saying, thank you for throwing the party at them. So and so at your party, and now I'm applying for a job at PL. The guy wants that job at PL just because another client before that PL said, oh, you're in IT, we are looking for an IT, blah, 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 your skill sets. Let me introduce you. So he skipped the resume line and then straight to because another client won't use it.
That's a real fun part of the book.
That was the first, we become your job is to become the influencer and the connector. I don't mean social media influencer. I mean, the influencer in your clients, how could we, you're not just an expert on finding the best, be the expert not for to your client, not just for things like plumbing, roofing, blah, blah, blah. Yes, be that. In our situation, we have clients which sending their resumes to us and saying, Caroline, you worked in other things. To Andrew too. One of our clients who's a producer, film producer, sent his reel to Andrew because Andrew was an art director at an ad agency. What do you think of my reel? And I did go in and Caroline, he sent his resume to me. You were a brand contract, what can you love? When I read his resume, I was like, dude, I know this person at Target. Can I just send you this? Can I just connect you? And I did it. Your clients become your raving fans.
And that's the number one reason to not keep your business page completely separate from your personal page. You have to integrate it to keep people connected to you, because if you're only like Caroline the Realtor in their eyes, that's boring, right? But Caroline the plant queen, Caroline the cooking person, Caroline who loves classic cookbooks from India, Caroline who loves to talk about Indian culture, people are gonna connect with you about your other interests that are not real estate. Right? So like if you're talking, you know, you love posting about your dog, who's your office manager when you work at home, right? People love that. And they're gonna wanna see that because they're gonna wanna hire you because they love dogs as much as you love dogs, not because they need to buy a house near a realtor.
Alyssa and her challenges with this, with our winter weather, it's amazing how cute the comments are from all your friends. It's so sweet. She will also put up a video about the weather, cussing it out and all that. It's very nice. And Rina's fan base, when she's rollerblading, she talked about her reptiles in their tanks, when she cleaned out her corner. The comments, these are people who are begging to be your fans. Why would you want them to know?
Well, just to piggyback on that, unfortunately, the bad news is we're a commodity. There's too many of us. We're totally a commodity. And so if you're a generic realtor, you're just gonna be compared to other generic realtors. But people, especially, I would dare say, especially in millennial generation and beyond, want to know more of who they're doing business with and connect more. I mean, I think most people do these days, so. Yeah, thank you for coming, and we're wrapping up anyway, so. Yes. Yeah, if anyone needs to go, it's 11, but I can tell you at least one more anecdote. We just had a long-term nurture convert, and that was we've been to the house twice for 2 listing appointments over 3 years, I'm gonna say. And we're getting the listing, bottom line, but in between the 2 listing appointments, we called the client multiple times, not to bother them, but just, following up, left messages, texts, didn't hear a thing back.
She is super introverted. It's not that she never wanted to talk to us, she was just like.
So we knew that. And how are we getting the listing after 3 years? We decided to start doing home selling classes. And she came to our home selling class and popped in. And then after that, we engaged with her and.
But in the meanwhile, the nurturing for the past 2 years was by me. Because to answer your question.
That's where I wanted to come back to your question about the B's and C's.
Stephanie, what happened? Oh, sorry, Alice. She answered. So yes, Stephanie. I immediately put her down as a C. She said, I'm thinking. In my favor, there is no B. People will want to move. People, at least in this lifetime, they will want to move at least once. There is no such thing as a B for me. Yes, I know that people don't that real estate talks about A, B, and C and D. I don't have B at all. So I just put her on the C, not knowing whether that would happen or not. And at our first meeting, I knew that she was talking, she put out a form. And she said, she put her no, my house is very messy, etc. Please forgive me, etc. Okay. And I said, no, I don't. I said, I don't want to clean, I'm wrong, clean. What I did, well, my idea for mess and her idea for mess is a different thing altogether. Because it was really pile high and stuff. Not a photo situation, but pile everywhere. And very, very, and I noticed that I watched for behaviorism. Please, for the love of God, please keep, again, these are your soft executive skills. Don't be, when you notice a person talking softly or not, or very shy, I try to understand what is happening. Personality wise, I had it when I realized she was very super introverted, but the more, so you come to a place of question. The more questions I asked, and I started looking at the connections of different things. as I spoke about the collect, I didn't want to talk about real estate. I started speaking about a collection of Kathy's collection of carvings and etc. The more she spoke, the more at ease she felt. And then we started talking about the house, Andrew and I. What happened was pretty, and then we put in notes, she was recorded as she said, I'm thinking of selling, etc. I don't know when, etc. I immediately put her on a seat. Until a client tells us what, when we go, they don't go immediately the P or A category. But every 3 months, how are you doing? How are the plants doing? How are this? I said, have you added to your collection, etc. etc. That's what.
So that's a good check-in, like every 2-3 months, just how are you doing? Just thinking of you. That's
The B's and the C's don't even get any real estate. Budgets, but
Yes, they do.
it's more like.
Yeah,
They,
it's more
no,
like a personality.
they are on the drip campaign.
they get our
Yeah.
newsletter, they get a long-term nurture.
But I mean, like the personal touch that you did
Yeah.
with them is more relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're not psychologically ready to sign a listing contract to get their house on the market, then we don't push them too hard. We just nurture them along and make sure they know we're still thinking of them.
That's what I.
Yeah.
For the class. That she came.
Yeah, that was
We
it.
were so shocked to see her name on the class.
But that's where people will appear. Then they become a hand raiser. She became a hand raiser because she came to our class. It could have been some other way of engaging, but she became a hand raiser. Yeah.
Oh, you were shaking with this guy.
Yeah.
What you did there.
So we have, our entire database is in Federal class, but then we keep a separate list in MailChimp. And MailChimp is all technical, so that we can send emails to agents for coming soon, just listed, that sort of thing. We can send, emails to everybody, we can send them to clients, we can send them to various subsets. So to all our sphere of clients, we always send the emails, even if it's basically it's email marketing. And so, yeah, those two things. Yeah.
So we send that class, so we send our bio class and when we do our bio class and the seller class once a month. And our first client is selling, we send their view to our bio class, but this lady out, she just put the name in the sell and it's just a basic sell class.
And the cool thing is, you don't have to reinvent anything for these because it's just doing a buyer consult or a listing consult. Just either do it on Zoom or
We just offer tips on how to stage, in person.
we do them by Zoom. We are gonna do it in person one coming up because somebody requested it, Friends Gallery, art gallery thing with, she has a space, so. I've done both, we've done both on our team and getting people out of the house these days to come and show up to something, especially if it's at a brokerage. Or office of some kind, City Hall or. I'm not saying don't do it, or it's not a good idea.
Here's what I will tell you. Buy everything, find the one that works for you. Same with your audiences. Don't say, oh my gosh, I'm going to focus on my community, I'm going to focus on and do everything. The things that work for you will show up right away.
Yeah, something starts, that was one device that our coaches really on told us, like, what's working? So if it's working.
More of them. Like for instance,
Try a little other things too and see if those will work.
for instance, one of the things I remember very early on in my career, very first year. They're saying, oh, when you do your, I remember that my class, when you do your, don't do comps in the client's store. They do it, just tell them, okay, because this is proprietary, etc., just go to your house and just tell them, hey, you're going to do it then, and then you do your follow-up meeting, etc., we need to see the deal. However, today we have Zoom, right? And people know that they have options, and by options, I know that they know that they have other realtors. In my first year, I told Andrew and I, we just were like, Mr. Seller is here, this is Seller is here, we've got them as a captured audience round the dining table. Why do we need to get up and go home and then, this entire rigmarole? Let's just talk to them right there and then. And we would get home and 2 days later, they would want to do a listing contract. And I would ask them why. They said that we spoke to other realtors and other realtors would say they would get back to us with the forms, etc. We either never heard back from them or they would say they would do the forms for us, provided we sign the listing contract. You guys came, you spent 2 hours, you did the form, etc. That's how the laws are working listing business to work right away now, very first thing.
And I'll add, if you do it in front of the client, they know you're not like hiding or excluding any listings. Like if you're choosing to take one out of the comps, you're having a discussion with them, like, oh, this home, has like 5 fireplaces and like a sunroom, so it's not really a good comp for your property, right? So, because for them, they're on Zillow and they looked at the comps, for themselves, so you want to be able to show them like, hey, I'm having an open conversation with you, and these are really the ones that align to you, agree or not.
And
Yeah.
then, say, are you okay with dismissed, like leaving it to you? And we noticed, see, little things like this, we started owning in on little details like this, because it was strengthening the relationship. Suddenly from becoming a complete stranger, walking into the office, we were the trusted real estate advisor. And Andrew would always say, can I send this list to, no, he would listen to the language. Psychology of language is very important. Like, don't be like a realtor who said, kick down the door, blah, 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 go with with the lockbox, etc. You ask questions. When you ask questions, you control the conversation. He started thinking, I send you this list. You're asking the client for permission. Because they have seen a better list of all those houses that you've done farms on. So of course they will say yes.
That's a great way to,
And then you get to this and they're like, oh my gosh, that's. Oh, and they're like, oh, we agree with that in Sherman.
would it be okay if I sent this to you, would you like it if how would you feel if, I called you, if we asked for permission, a lot of things, so it puts it.
Is it okay? If he called you, but you don't want to. If you don't want to be disturbed, like with the client who contacted us, because, we love the fact that you agree.
And honestly, all this, and we should wrap up, it's almost quarter after, but honestly, I'll leave you with this. Else, anything else. Not everybody would agree with everything you stated today. There are plenty of coaches who would say, we're not aggressive. You need to be making more calls and follow-ups or whatever, but I think you have to kind of use your judgment, find your own style, and what works for you.
In our first year, doing what we did, we closed 29, second year was 42, third year 66, fourth year was how much? 88 or 89, and then we had 108. Last year, we would have reached the 100 mark, except we closed at how much?
81.
He closed at 81 because that's it. All those agents, all those clients who didn't want to work in our scale, didn't want to do anything to do about the feds, are doing things.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
So there is some value in what we just told you today, but again, pick and choose what works for you, pick and choose what works with other builders too. Because you are your own brand, you are your own business.
If you hear anything from us, another coach at Keller Williams or any other out of any other place, and it's not working for you, or it just doesn't feel like it fits you.
Correct.
Just like us.
So
Yeah. Not all advice is good.
Yeah, somebody,
Anybody else
the
have
people
it?
that are teaching the classes, they're crushing it with their method, right?
Yeah.
So you'll find there's so many different agents that have so many different methods, so just keep going, you keep learning from different people, and then you can, a piece from that, a piece from that, there, like cherry pick a little bit, rip off and duplicate it, right?
Yeah.
Make it fit for you.
you know what I love about real estate? There's always something new to learn. I get to roll see that in any other profession. And of course.
So we leave it here or anyone else?
If any questions, you're always going to be fun, what I'm looking at.
Thank you. all of you guys, know the other side of transactions, so. Yeah,
How many students are there? Do people really don't?
There's just plenty of people on Zoom.
Yeah,
really?
People coming in.
Yeah, depending on the day.
Yeah.
like,
There's people on Zoom.
Yeah, there's also people on Zoom.
yeah, thank you,
Usually about,
It's just not.
yeah.
That's so easy.
They record it, right?
Yeah.
People.
It's always an open book.
Yeah, Thank you on Zoom.
That's called, email me, no, not emails, email, no, next week. 612-720-9604, that was the cell phone number. It's just 612-720-9604, be free to call me at anytime. I always want people to be madly widely successful. Among, I want you to be madly widely successful. You do with the payment. I should be your,
It's like, what about?
I should be your biggest, he and I are your biggest cheerleaders. Why? Because we sat in those seats.
I wanna-
It is not scary. It is not scary at all.
thank you.
Do not be like Nick.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
Yeah, you need it.
This might be one of my favorite classes I've sat through. I appreciate that, like you gave us your real life examples and explained your story versus just kind of going through the book and rereading what they wrote. Stuff for me, that's far more impactful.
Me too.
And I love how you've done it in a way that was true to your authentic self. Which I really admire.
My biggest passion in life is I want realtors to be protected. Because there are when people say go door knocking, etc., I've been trying to push Keller Williams and all the real estate brokerages to do or self-defense classes. There's no there's some self-defense more like, it's quite simple, guys. Someone pulls out a gun on you, walk, turn around, just say, I'm so sorry to disturb you, please have a nice day, I apologize for this, and walk away. Walk away, walk with your shoulders back more confidently. That's what my friend in the police force taught me.
There's a self-defense class on the 29th. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Another thing,
Yes.
yes. Another thing is, and at the self-defense class, I want to be there because there are different, make sure that people know, if you're a single realtor, make sure a family member, if you don't have a family member, spouse, etc., make sure your next door neighbor, etc., has a list of the houses you're going to see, things like that.
Buddy realtor.
Pardon?
A buddy realtor.
A buddy realtor or your brokerage, let us know that's happening. You are your one person, you have one life, please, for the love of God. Let your life be sacred to you.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Well, thanks, everyone. We're an open door.
You guys
Anytime.
You-
Text us, call us. don't worry.
I suck at Hindi. But I know all the shitty words that are used against Catholics.
And if you like our forms,
So the word
Why
Parvati,
is that the
Yeah.
first
version.
words you learn in
the
any
word,
other?
the word Parvati that was used against me is the N version, N word, for what they use for anyone who is, English.
We should catch up.
Achut is another one.
That's terrible.
Achut is don't,
Do you,
and these are highly educated individuals. The fact that 7 inches are out of 120
Yeah.
clients, that tells me. Yeah, I mean.
I'll do that.
Sorry. go ahead.
No, not at all. No, yours.
Yeah.
Cheesy that, cheesy that.
Yeah. Get out.
It freaks me out. You know,
Yeah.
you know,
That's, I think one thing, which you're not on that.
yes, yeah.
You're pushing.
I like it.
It's kind of-
Like,
That's what we do. It won't work for me.
Right? For this weekend.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's like.
That is. That is.
Oh, my daughter feels. That actually, so call them up, I'm like.
Yeah, they're all just.
That's fair. So whenever Asian chicken is not a lot of skill.
Yeah.
The people are just, you'll be surprised.
And it was always. If we honest, we don't know what should be.
There's so nasty, I know, like that. So he's done, you know, I just realized.
So he actually represents the elders. And so they're slowly putting some back, fixing up and listing.
That's what you want, this.
So they're doing it just a little bit. But it's super cool.
I didn't realize they have a Burnsville area. Consider enough.
This is the one that we, that with
That one. That was just a new one that just.
It's a little bigger.
No.
So,
I said, just checking on the paper where you're replying like that. My They have a still on this side of cars, these not gonna drive. I put my kid, I guess I should show up at 3 p.m. when she gets.
The other one, he has, doesn't
Maybe
be there
they're
every
reaching out
single.
and finding a place to live.
It is actually always myself closest.
They should have known about that. Hey,
But yeah,
That's.
You literally have a one that is so that he's looking at everybody. You don't know that out. The public tech. Now, actually, do I need to drive over there to find out? So there's sounds in horrible first. I mean, part of me, I'm like, even though, yes, you.
yeah, so we've been.
And then I looked up the tax record and looked up that lady's name.
Yeah.
She was killed in a hit and run. Last time. So the one who owned the house, the kids are selling the house.
What's your business? What am I speaking?
I think he's small, like I'm so busy, I can't even think straight. On Thursday and Sunday, I've been closing payments Monday, and I'm closing on April 11th. Contracts, and now I just got.
Tell me.
Like I'm really.
This is your.
Well, that's the thing.
Yes. It's the first because I cover everything, so.
Yeah, but I'm learning that I'm gonna be getting enough later. You're the loaded. On top. Yeah.
We didn't even know.
They're coloring and I burned
The weird small one, that's for sure.
and so now we're just waiting for people.
Well, the only.
Send over the color on it.
They didn't send it right. Yeah.
I like.
Okay,
But yeah, what it is, we'll just keep looking if we have. Other things will go through that, but. Imagine there's a lot of emotion.
agreed.
Here, this is the house that we're looking at on market. This is the, it's here
Okay.
for Chad.
Oh,
Yeah,
you.
Yeah. so they've already repainted the outside, so it's like this light blue color. Still has the red, so. Clean that up. It's been well maintained. I don't know if you got fully fenced in, you know, that's a space. Sure. Yeah. So, all everything's separated, all the utilities and everything, obviously it's got AC. Things not. So it's not really as expensive to do. Separate utilities, for everything. Yeah, I mean, it's, obviously you need some cosmetics, but it's in good shape. I mean, I don't think I'll have any issues with FHA.
It's great.
So, yeah.
I know.
That's the other. Kitchen. Yeah, I actually really like this kitchen, a little bit glass and everything. And I'm interested in the fact that this is on top of this. So
Yeah.
I'll have to figure that out when I get this.
There a wall up there?
There's a what?
A wall of it?
Oh, that's what I was looking at. I don't see. Yeah, it's just the stone right there. So unless it's like behind this, how can we see? But I don't think so. So I don't know. I'll be more check it out. Be interesting to know.
So like say.
These are from last year. 'Cause they listed it in the.
So this is for you, but it's been looking, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the back area. They've got a little. Over, and they made this little patio spot out here. And then there's a big patio big there. So a little spot here of grass, like flowers and stuff. You'll definitely want to be over this one. I'll use it just to terrorize it. This door here is a little. So I know that that's gonna be replaced. Yeah. But so, no, no.
Especially a small.
Exactly, but you can like see the. It's just a little bit, but it's a two-part garage, but like, so yeah, this is the patio area. I mean, there's a little bit of, looks like paint that would need to be done, but that was last year, so they might have already done it. This is like, they just did like zero, well, because very low maintenance stuff.
I was trying to get lunch.
It all looks pretty good. I don't see anything. It's like, you have everything. But yeah, fully fenced in, absolutely fantastic. I love it.
You can do this.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
because
I
they're-
think I quit.
And it would be about the same person.
So was it, is it cancel dancing or something? Or-
Yeah, so.
Right, so is it-
There's a thing that happened. Private family matter that you're up in a facility to get off the market, but it's been family owned forever. The couple lives in, that owns it, lives in the main level.